Okay, everybody. I just got back from the most embarrassing interview I have ever had in my life at the fanciest steakhouse I have ever even been to in my life. It went horrible. I walk in, everyone is dressed in like the fanciest clothes. Like the fanciest clothes. And I'm wearing this, which isn't that bad. But look at the pants. That's where it gets bad. I'm wearing leggings. And I really regret that. I walk in and they shake my hand. Tell me why. I went like, he's shaking me this hand. I was like that. Like, what am I? Am I 7? Am I 7? And then, the interview was the worst part. I couldn't understand what the man was saying. He literally used such fancy terminology. I thought I was a smart gal. Apparently, I'm not a smart gal because I literally had to ask him to repeat it in different ways because I didn't understand what he was saying. Like, Jesus, kill me now. It was so embarrassing. And I said, yeah, I've been to bartending school. I know wines. He was like, good, because we have $4,000 bottle of wines here. And I was like, bet. He goes, name 5 wines for me. I drink wine. I know 5 wines. So tell me why when he tells me to name 5 wines, I can't. I literally went, Merlot, Cabernet. What's wrong with me? I know wine. Like, Jesus! Oh my gosh! It was so embarrassing when it came time to leave. I literally didn't even know that's what he was telling me because at this point, my brain was just like, I don't know this language. This is foreign to me. And I literally did not get the gist that it was time to leave. So I continued sitting there in the booth after he told me he was going to go write on this paper. And I didn't know that was my cue. And so he literally comes back over and is like, here, I can walk you out. And I was like, oh.
Anytime you go to an interview and the interviewer gets up and says, hey, it's time to go or whatever, you can cancel it. You know that interview didn't go well. Really and truly, I'm just joking. But when he asks you about the different types of wine, and you didn't know them, whether you were nervous, I'm sure, you probably drink wine. I'm sure that you've had a few before and you know the different types of wine that's out there. The reality is that once you go through the interview process, typically you're going to get a little bit nervous, you're going to get a little bit anxious, and just based off this interview, it seems like you may have been a little bit anxious. So you probably just had a brain fart. You just forgot about it. And that happens, unfortunately. Sometimes you can recover from those situations, sometimes you can't. But those are things that derail your interview from the beginning. So I would say the first thing you want to do is just relax a little bit, try to bring your energy level down a little bit, try to lock in just a little bit. That'll allow you to be able to think through your answers, think through the things that you want to say, and make sure that you do your research. Make sure you go through the process, do your research beforehand, understand the organization, understand where you're going. You talked about your attire, but you're going to an interview at a high-end restaurant, it sounds. You talked about your tights and whatnot. I know during COVID, everything, got a little bit more casual. But, if you know that you're going to a high-end restaurant, you know that you're going to a corporate interview, if you know you're going to be in certain settings, you want to make sure that you're dressed appropriately. Old adage is, you only can make a first impression once. So go in there, look sharp, professional dress, look good. And if you don't want to take your tie off or take your jacket off or whatever it is, then that's fine. You have that option, but you can't put the tie on once you get there. Go there, dress appropriately, fitting for that role. I have guys that go into manufacturing roles, and they're going to be either in a uniform, dressed in jeans the entire time, dressed in boots. But I always recommend that they go in there prepared, go in there dressed appropriately, go in there with their best dress on. You only have one chance to make a first impression. So don't go into an interview with tights on, with sneakers on, particularly if it's something, in a high-end restaurant. You want to show them what they're getting. So keep that in mind when you go into some of these interviews. But I think if you just kind of bring it down a little bit, try to bring some of the anxiety, some of the anxiousness down a little bit, I think that'll help you the next time.
Getting that job. Oh my gosh. And I learned my lesson. I am a Hooters gal. I am not a fancy gal, apparently. So I will be sticking to low-class bars.
All right. So I'll say this. You are a Hooters girl if you say that you're a Hooters girl. If you're a low-class girl, if you say that you're a low-class girl, then you're a low-class girl. I'm not saying it. You're saying it. Just because you bombed and messed up this interview doesn't mean that's what's to come. That's the future. Back early in my career, I would go and have interviews knowing I wasn't going to get the job, but I did it strategically. I did it so that I could gather information. I did it so that I could understand who the decision makers are going to be. I did it so I would know the expectations of the role, and so I did that knowing that I wasn't going to get the job. It didn't mean that I wasn't fit for that role. It just meant that I was going strategically so I could understand more so that when I was ready for the role, I would be better prepared. So use this as just a research opportunity. You went to this job, this fancy restaurant, this high-end restaurant. It didn't go well, but it was great information. It was great research so that when you go into the next interview, you're better prepared. Better prepared. So again, if you go in and say that you're just a low-class Hooters girl, cool. We need those too. We need low-class Hooters girls too. But if you want to grow, use this as an opportunity to learn, as research, figure out some of the things that you did wrong, improve, get better for the next one. Hey, thanks for listening. I'll if you have any dissenting opinions, I ask you to put those in the comments. I'll try to respond to them. And thanks a bunch for listening.